What's up, my ninjas? Ninjalumberjack here, and today I got a pretty good video for you guys. I think it's a pretty good video. So today we're going to be making Thorfinn's daggers from Vinland Saga, and yeah, daggers plural, because I'm making both of them. You have his the one he gets from his father, the like cool looking black one. He gets that one from his father, and then the one with the gold is just he just ends up with it at some point. I'm assuming he just gets it off some English soldier or something. I typically call it his English dagger just because I genuinely couldn't tell you where he got it from. He just has it. And so, yeah, so this is... I'm doing both of them in this video, but this is going to be a two-part video series because after I edited this video, got it all edited together, it was roughly, I want to say like 20 minutes, maybe a little over 20 minutes, and that's just a lot. So I'm hoping I have enough clips to then come back and do a whole video on just the painting alone. I'm hoping. So we'll see. But without further ado, let's get into the build itself. So as you saw just then, I cut out the templates out of the paper, and then I started tracing it onto our foam. And so the foam we're going to be using for this, I believe, I got it all memorized, is we use 8mm foam for the core because our rods are 8mm thick. The fiberglass rods we'll be using later, they're 8mm thick. So I'm using that for the core right here. And then as you see right here, just decided to zoom in, get you all up close and personal for some measurements. And what I'm doing is I'm marking out 4mm on either side of my center mark because I traced out my first template, then folded it in half and drew out my center mark. That way I knew I was in the exact center of the dagger. And then I mark out 4mm on either side of that. Boom, I got my 8mm channel. And you go ahead and cut out that channel too, and you test it to make sure that your rod fits like you want it to. Pretty simple. It's nothing too much to that. It's all easy right here. But it's when you get to gluing things together that you gotta be a little bit more precise. And I just want to take a minute right here to say I'm 100% stealing William Shakespeare jokes, but what do you think of my 1, 2, 3 camera battery blocks? So I was working over there because I was finishing Vinland Saga, but we're done with it now. So we got scrap. We got all of our blade. Oh, I still gotta cut these out. I never did that, so we're gonna do that real quick. But I don't know if I explained this yet or not. But what I want to do is traced out the fuller area on these templates, or not templates, but these scale pieces. That's what they would be called because they kind of are the skin pieces. That's what we'll call them. Because I want to go ahead and glue these on here. That'll go ahead and create our fuller, and it will stiffen up the foam a little bit. I mean, it's actually fairly rigid for some 2mm, but it'll stiffen it up more so that when we glue it together, maybe that'll help remove more of the curve out of everything. So we need some contact cement. Therefore, we're gonna fill up our little jug-a-lug. I knew that would happen. Oh, darn, that was a disaster. Damn it. That is gonna be a problem. So after a brief moment of technical difficulties and a wardrobe change, we're now ready to start trying to doing this right. So first thing we're gonna do, okay, prologue to the first thing we're gonna do. We are going to get this lid off. I am so sorry, actually, I forgot to record this step, but I went ahead and glued on the little the scale skins, whatever you want to call them, of the blade. I already glued those on. I'm so sorry, I forgot to record that. But it's the same typical context, man. It took time to slowly try to match it up with that channel. I really wish I would have recorded it. I'll make sure I do it with the next one though. But I do think I'm gonna do that one slightly different, but we'll see when we get there. But now I need, this one has a little bit of contact cement on both sides, our main core piece, so it can stay set aside for now. And I want to get a first coat on these guys first. Go ahead and use this proper. I guess I can kind of talk right there. So I was kind of just like, this is a trick I got from Odin Makes actually, and what I'm doing is I'm laying down like a paper layer in between it, so while I get what I want to stick right, I don't have to worry about nothing else sticking before I'm ready. And then after that, I just come back with another skill that I learned from SKS Prop. Trust me, you should check out all these other channels. They do things much better than I do, more professionally, and they typically explain it better. I'm just here to show you what I know, how I did it. So, yeah. But then I just, using his SKS Props method, I just like kind of steamroller pinned it, just to make sure it was good and smashed down and good solid connection through. And yeah. Now this nice and tacky. Sorry, I'm kind of starting to try to talk like Bruce Lee-ish. Well, I don't know who this guy is, but it's a movie about Bruce Lee, featuring not Bruce Lee. The blade of a Thorfinn dagger. I say a Thorfinn dagger because really either one of the blades you do is more or less this, except the other one is just cut off right there. It's just getting our center point. So, since we are building 2 daggers at once, this is the first one. This is like, I consider this his English dagger because I think he got this from like some English soldier in which he was fighting, I believe. Anyways, it just looks a little bit different. It basically just looks like a regular, like, I don't want to say an Ufbert sword, but like a, just like regular arming sword, just scaled down to the size of a dagger-ish. But this is that blade. It's done, and the main difference is just that it's curved down here for when we do the hilts and stuff, or the crossguard and hilt and all that. But so this is the first one, and currently it is the next day, but I intend to do this last night. But while this one was drying, I was going to work on the other dagger, so since we have 2, do both of them at the same time. We'll, you know, work on them both together to get it done, you know, faster, instead of doing one full dagger and then doubling back and doing the other one. Long story short, forget all that. Here's the first dagger already like glued together and ready to just be cleaned up and sanded. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the other blade to the other dagger made, which is, but here's the other dagger. See if we can get it to focus on that, not me. There we go. Anyways, that's the other dagger's blade. And so, yeah, that's what we're working on now. Then I just sanded it down just to get it all nice and uniform along the edge of it where I misaligned it slightly. But you can't really touch the foam stretches. That, and it just gives me a nice, clean, even surface to draw out my marks to get my bevel and all that. As you see, I came back and did a center mark across the top layer where the fuller is to get my center mark of the blade, and then I came back and I did it along like the spot, or not the spot, but the, what would be the edge of the blade too. I did a nice little center mark there so I could have something to sand down to. And then just to cut back on a little bit of sanding, I come in with the box cutter and I just trimmed it all down. That way it just makes less dust when you're sanding. And then off to the belt sander, man. Sand away. So this blade is sanded pretty much all the way down. It's got a few little bad spots like here and here where I cut too deep, or right down here, and then a couple on this side as well, just where it's a little rough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it with a round of some Alex Fast Dry Putty, and let that sit while we work on the other blade. But it's looking pretty good so far. So we are going to carry on.
Just like that, just smooth it on out. Fill in that little cavity.
This side is more or less pretty good. It's pretty smooth too. But this side, it's a little bit rough where I hit it with a Dremel for a second. So I'm gonna try to clean all that up when I hit it on the belt sander again too. But now I just gotta set this aside and let it dry for a little bit. And now this guy should be
These are the skin and detail layers to the second dagger. And boom, look at that, I'm a man of my word. I did remember to record the other dagger doing the little fuller accent pieces. But it's the same method, it's just I did the paper layer up on her and then just line it up, get it where I want, and then just slowly take my time and put down all the foam, roll it out kind of like I want. Make sure I follow the template lines as best as I can, and then stick my head in the way. By the way, that's not dandruff. That's like foam and PVC dust from the hair. I swear. You can look at the sweater and you can tell it's just the same. It's a bunch of dust. I swear. I don't have dandruff. And then same as before, you just come in and you just steamroll it a little bit. Make sure it's all nice and strong together. The layers are good and connected. And then back to the bed. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the cross guard for the English dagger. And so what I did is just same thing as before, traced out the template. I kind of went a little quick there with the time lapse, but I'll kind of explain what all happened there. I just traced it out, cut it out, and then now what I'm doing is the same as we did with the blade. I'm cutting out the center of that center 8mm for the rod to go through. And so I'm cutting that out so I know I got it. And I did a total of 3 layers of, I want to say it was 3 layers of 8, or that, no, it was 3 layers of 10. It was 3 layers of foam, that's all I know. And then you're using all the same methods we did earlier. I'm coming back and doing the same thing to do the handles. And like I said, the cross guard as you just saw. And then I'm about to slow it down for a second because I'm showing you what I did here. Because instead of carving all the way through and skinning it, this is another method you could do. And I typically do this with the handles just because it's faster. But instead of cutting all the way through it and then skinning it like before, I just cut in little V-shaped grooves in it to create a little channel for the rod to sit in. And you do that on both sides in like a little square hole or a little diamond hole for you to then feed your rod onto that fits. If you do it right, you can make it fit very snug and very precise. And also, you get cool little like triangular bevels out of it too. I typically keep those if they come out looking pretty good because you never know what you can use them for. So I set those aside and reuse them later. And then I come back and do that same thing to these half circles. I didn't record cutting out these half circles, I guess. Thought I did, and guess I didn't. But these are just circles that I end up coming back and cutting in half because I only need half of it. But I did the same thing with a little V groove there. And then I'm just coming back and contact cementing the dagger cross guard together. And then just checking it out, kind of checking the fit, seeing how it looks, make sure we're headed in the right direction. And I gotta say, so far it's looking pretty good. And as you see there, the dagger is all red and everything. What that is just I took Mod Podge and mixed it with I just take the Mod Podge and mix it with some paint and do a couple of paint layers. We'll get into all that later.
then same as before, I just sanded those up, cleaned them up pretty good, get them ready so I can start throwing paint on them. And then right here, so instead of sanding down the sides of the handles, make it all rounded and nice, what I did was I just cut off the same thickness as what foam dowels I had, and then came back with foam half dowels. You could use regular foam dowels too. I actually do use that on the other one because I ran out of half dowels, but what I did is I just took those and super glued those onto the side after cutting it down. Like I said, I cut away the thickness of what my dowels were and then just re-glued those back on with the circular bezels to get a nice rounded handle. And it's quick, simple, and works. And then, yeah, started prepping some things out. Doing a little bit more sanding on the blade just because I was trying to get this as smooth and pretty and professional as it could be. It ends up not being as great as I thought it would be, so it was a lot of sanding for no reason. But I like to think that it's the thought that counts. Then I just start, this is kind of part of the painting. I'm just kind of hitting everything with some black just to kind of be able to see what else needs to be dealt with as far as sanding and filling.
So this looks confusing, and that's because it is. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm giving it a shot.
Hands down the hardest thing I ever think. I've even wrapped a katana before, but that was light work compared to this. But it turns out looking really good, I think. It's just like I guess it's like a basket weaving kind of method. Just crossing them over and under each other just till you get, like I said, I don't really know how to explain it. I didn't even look nothing up for this. I kind of just looked at the picture and was like, it kind of looks like a basket weave, so I'm going to do what I think a basket weave is. And ended up working out.
So I got it all wrapped the way it needs to be. It gets a little tight and rough up here, but I mean, this side's worse than this side. This side looks pretty good, actually. I think this is the front side looking at. Yeah, that's how this one looks better. It's more focused. But now we just need to kind of trim all this off. Wow, like there's always a point in a prop where it starts to look like what it's supposed to, and for me, this is it. This is it. So
And so what I was doing here is I was coming back and I was just I went ahead and wrapped more than I needed to, so that way when I came back and I wanted to add like the metal fittings or metal collars for it, I can make sure they fit flushly and beautifully. That way it can kind of look like it's kind of tucked under the metal, and the metal was used to like help sandwich it down and hold it to make room for the collar pieces. And because I didn't want to layer on top of it and make it look crazy thick, because I wanted to look kind of like they were more or less on the same level. So I cut that down, that way they would sit. The collar slightly out from it, but that way it gives it kind of tucked in look.
these are the two Thorfinn daggers. It's all here. Everything's accounted for. We have a couple strips right here, so we're just gonna run these around this thing. And yeah. And we're just gonna do it simple with some super glue too. So let's just find an angle that works for us.
Now this wrap is a lot simpler. I literally just spiraled it up once and then just came back with a second layer of it and kind of like stretched and pulled it in different ways just to give it like a roughly wrapped look. And I think it comes out looking really good in the end. I'm really proud of how this comes out. And the same thing with this one, you just do the same little collar thing on the bottom, but this one doesn't have it at the top.
Ooh. Oh man. Oh dude, are you for real? Oh dude. That looks so... Hang on. That looks so good. Whoa. I'm not gonna lie. I personally am kind of hard to impress. Like, I'm usually never satisfied with my own work, but dude, that's looking good. I might do a little bit more of the caulking down there, but man.
So, as I stated before, this video was running a little long, so I'm going to do a part 2 to this. But if you want to kind of see just the, I guess it's not really B-roll, but some progress pics of the daggers before the paint, you can go check out my Instagram at ninja.lumberjack, and then you can see that there. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one because there's going to be a part 2.